Hello and welcome back to the Canaries Chat channel, and what a roller coaster of a week this has been for Norwich. We obviously had the 3-0 loss against Southampton. We have had the Nunes debacle going to Ipswich, and the pressure was very much on for Liam Manning, I believe, going away to Blackburn, and we have come away with it with the 3 points. An interesting game, to say the least. I think obviously there was the red card towards the end of the first half, and to be honest, the first half felt relatively okay, relatively comfortable, created a lot of opportunities, just didn't finish them. And the second half was a lot harder and made it a bit harder for ourselves. But in regards to the first half and the starting lineup, he has changed formation. We were no longer playing the 5 at the back. We went to a 4-2-3-1. So all of this talk around Liam Manning saying there wasn't an issue with the formation, he has tried to switch it up, whether that's due to external pressure building and looking for change of formation, or whether he just thinks that was the right tact for the game. He will obviously say it's the right tact for the game because he wouldn't want kind of people thinking that any pressure change the decisions that he makes. But it does feel a little bit convenient that after a hell of a week with the Southampton game, the Nunes stuff, to then go 5 at the back, when fans have already been quite vocal that they're not too happy with that, could have been an interesting environment. But the crowd was still singing Super Liam Manning, so he's still got the backing of the fans, obviously, with the result going its way today. Just quickly, just under 70% of the people watching this video are not subscribed. So if you're enjoying Norwich City content, want to join us on this journey, we're trying to hit 2,000 subscribers. Click the subscribe button down below. In regards to the starting lineup, we had Kovacevic in goal, Fisher right back, Medic, Darling the 2 centre backs, Crescene left back, McLean and Topic the 2 holding midfielders, Diallo, Fitzgoran and Cernak just behind Josh Sargent. Crescene had a few very early attempts, forced a few good couple of saves as well. Was really pushing on that left back role, and there was also times Fisher was doing the same with kind of balls into the box. He was appearing back post. Fitzgoran had a header that kind of headed it into the ground, bounced over, didn't really threaten the goalkeeper. I think it's kind of one of his better displays. He held the ball up well, did a few good turns, was still a little bit wasteful with his passing. Kovacevic was nearly caught out as well, due to how high he plays out of his goal. Blackburn picked it up, went for a shot from about 50-60 yards out, didn't threaten the goal at all. But that is probably a warning sign. They were talking on the commentary around, will he get caught out one time this season? Probably, with how high he does play up, but it does also give us that outlet and that sweeper keeper for any balls behind the back, especially with Medic, because we all know he's not the fastest. That's not something he can change, but having Kovacevic there does provide a bit of support. Campbell was their only real spark, I feel, within that first half. It got a little bit ugly towards the end. We were doing everything we could possibly do to slow the game down and take it away from Blackburn. That was working. Campbell was kind of rising to it a little bit, not too surprisingly, but yeah, it's what you expect when a team's trying to grind out the win, and we're a bit on the back foot when we shouldn't be, with the opposition having 10 men. And then it was McLaughlin held Sarge. Contact was kind of originally on the line and just carried in to the penalty area without VAR. That would have been virtually impossible to tell from the referee's angle. He gave a penalty, sent McLaughlin off. You can't argue it either way, personally. It was a cynical foul that you can only get sent off for. It's better you just kind of hope Sarge misses, and even if he doesn't, you take the 1-0 and you've still got 11 men rather than giving away a penalty, most likely scoring, and then playing the rest of the game with 10 men. In regards to Sargent, that first half, had a lot of opportunities and wasted a lot of opportunities. So, yeah, there was a slight kind of shock at how many he put over the bar. I think he had maybe four or so shots in the first half, none of them on target, which is very much unlike Sarge up until that penalty. But yeah, he certainly made up for that with the pen and with the kind of absolute screamer in the second half. Second half started. Blackburn seemed completely disjointed at the start of the half. They couldn't get away from the press as you'd expect with a team of 10 men. Sometimes that can happen. Cargbo had a header off the post and then a superb smother save from Kovacevic. Just made himself as big as possible. I want to say the header came off Crescene onto the post from the replays that I saw, but I can't be 100% certain. Came out and Kovacevic just smuggled it as much as he could, and great save there. And then once again, a break for Blackburn. Blackburn really started amping up the pressure, and we looked on the back foot for about probably 30 minutes of that half, to be honest. Blackburn played really well. We weren't good enough on the ball. We weren't creating enough in that second half. And Blackburn were controlling the game, getting the breaks, and played exceptionally well with 10 men. And I think they'll probably be disappointed they didn't actually come away with something, especially from that second half performance. But this one kind of broke, and a little pass, and Kovacevic once again just smothered, shall I say, as much as possible, and it was a great save, and that's reflected, I think, in his rating today that we give him. I've got to say though, Blackburn will be disappointed. They did create some opportunities. They just lacked that killer instinct. They brought on, I think it was Gay up top, and that was not the best substitution appearance I've ever seen in my life. I think he was offside maybe 2 or 3 times, just ran into people. And I think if they could have utilised that sub a bit smarter, or if they had a bit more quality off the bench, they could have walked away with something today. Sarge, again, right towards the end, I think it was the kind of 93rd odd minute, break from us. He finds some space, just absolutely unleashes an right-footed rocket into the top right-hand corner. Keeper didn't even really try, to be honest, or it was just hit so hard that there was no point in trying. We come away 2-0 win. I think, as I said, the scoreline probably flatters us and doesn't flatter us in the same way. Like first half performance, we definitely deserve to be leading. Second half performance, we definitely didn't deserve to come away with 3 points. Yet 2-0 makes it look slightly more comfortable than what it was, especially against 10 men Blackburn. Although first half performance wasn't great, that I think they can take a lot of positives away from that second half performance, how they managed to control the game with 10 men. Cantwell did look good. He was trying to create things for them. Unfortunately, it just didn't come off. I think if it weren't for Kovacevic, then they could have quite easily had 2 goals there, and we could have been talking about a draw. Into player ratings, so still some lowish scores, as I think just some people haven't hit the ground running. We didn't see Matson either. The Danish David Fox did not come on. I'm not too surprised by that. I was hoping he'd actually come on in replacement for McLean when McLean would come off, but Gibbs was the choice there. So we haven't done kind of sub ratings or anything, but Kovacevic, we've gone with 8. I think there was some great saves in there. His distribution was still questionable, and I think that's really for the 8 rating. I think if he could polish up that distribution in places, then that would have potentially even been higher. Backline, we've actually gone all 7s. I think it was a relatively solid performance. Blackburn did create opportunities, and as I said, Kovacevic with some great saves. Those opportunities I felt more came from the distribution within midfield and the turnover of possession within the middle. I thought Mehdic probably had his best game for us yet. I think there's certain things he can't change in his game. He's always going to get outpaced if it's played behind him. We know that, and I don't think we can judge a player on them being slow. I actually think he read the game relatively well. Some of the distribution he had was very good as well. And similar to Darling, but Darling has that bit more pace to recover. I thought Fisher and Crescene provided good width and good support to the wingers with overlapping runs and popping up in the box. Crescene had obviously a lot of opportunities. Fisher had a few opportunities back post to try and knock the ball back across. So yeah, backline gets a 7. At the end of the day, we've had a clean sheet as well, so we can't complain too much there. Thought McLean 7. Thought he ticked over quite nicely, settled back into the game, sprayed the ball well. McLean seems to be, in general, a fairly divisive player of either you love the way that he plays, the way he ticks over, or that you think he's not progressive enough and he's a bit sideways passer. I just think he had a very solid game. I thought Topic was a bit more quiet. He had a few shots towards the end that didn't obviously go in, but I do think he lost possession once or twice and committed a few fouls. So I gave Topic a 6, but I don't think it was necessarily a terrible game for him, just one of his more quieter ones. Same with Diallo. I don't think there was loads that came off from him. There was a few nice passes for kind of Cresceni to try and get balls in, but one of his more quieter games. Fit score him. I flipped between a 6 or a 7. I went with a 6. I still think it's probably his best performance so far for us. I just think that he was still quite wasteful within possession, but there was some nice turns, some nice kind of opportunity creating for other players. But yeah, the final ball really just seemed to lack, unfortunately. And I think that'll just come with match fitness. So I'm not too worried there. Cernat, again, I flipped between a 5 and a 6. He had some good opportunities to beat players. Unfortunately, some of them just didn't come off, slipped or blocked. I think he was okay, but for me, he was the quieter one. Actually, no, I think he was maybe similar to Diallo, so we'll go with 6. I was maybe thinking 5, but yeah, we'll go with 6 because I think he had a similar-ish game to Diallo, managed to beat a few people, but didn't manage to get that final product there. And then Sarge, 2 goals. I've gone with 8. Obviously, with 2 goals could have been higher. I think we've got super high standards for Sarge in that first half. Until that penalty, he wasn't hitting those. So I think, yeah, even if he was getting them on target and they're good saves, that could have gone up to a 9 or so. But 8, still very good score. Him and Kovacevic, I'd say, joint man of the match. Kovacevic kept us in the game with his saves, and Sargent won us the game with those goals. So I think it's kind of poetic that a striker and a goalkeeper can maybe share that. But that was my thoughts on the game. As I said, it's been extremely pressurised within the club and outside of the club with everything that's happened with Nunes. We've handled the pressure well. We now need to put a line under what's happened personally with the Nunes deal. Keep Sarge. Once again, he's got more goals. I can't see a club willing to pay what we deem his value. The difference with Nunes is that we had a value on Ipswich supposedly have overpaid on that value. Whereas Sargent, I now think our value will be a lot higher than what it was at Wolfsburg. I would nearly say double. It would have to be a club record fee because we wouldn't be able to replace those goals this window. So once again, Sarge is absolutely killing it. 6 goals in 5 games. Will be a championship top goal scorer if he stays. But yeah, leave a comment down below. What are your thoughts on the games? Did you think the scoreline was kind of flattering to us? I do a little. And yeah, leave your thoughts on everything that's going on in the club down below. As always, if you've enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.